Welcome, Bonnie, to our Teacher Spotlight interview. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks. Well, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. I want to highlight all of the great things that you're doing in your studio with your students. So to start, tell us where you're located and what does your studio look like right now as far as students and online lessons and group and all that stuff.
Sure. So I am in the Tampa, Florida area. I'm actually in Valrico. I have a very large studio, and I'm almost like 95 to 100. I've kind of lost count, except for they're in my music staff. So I use that to manage it. I have mostly piano students. However, I'm a clarinet player. I started out playing clarinet and piano as a child, and clarinet was kind of my main instrument. So I had a lot of clarinet students, and then we decided to move to Florida from Bismarck, North Dakota, and it's just the whole area dynamic was different, and I could not get a clarinet student for anything, but the piano students came, and so I just changed. I went with the flow and taught piano. Luckily, I did have a very strong piano background. I was studying, the same level piano repertoire as all of the piano majors, and did a lot of accompanying in college. So it was a very natural transition. I'd always had both piano, clarinet, and some other random
Guitar.
instruments I studied. Yes, yes, guitar and violin, mostly because violin was always the instrument I wanted to play, and never got to until college, and then guitar I just kind of picked up because I wanted to. I'm always wanting to learn something new. Accordion is on my list.
Nice.
Maybe bagpipes. I think it keeps my brain fresh to try to learn new things. So
definitely
I'm always trying to learn something.
I had a roommate in college when I was in school in Boston that wanted to learn. She learned a new instrument every semester. And it was so impressive. She told herself she would, and there's all kinds of classes, you can take 101 on in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually did learn accordion and still plays today. She picked it up really quickly and loved it. And it was just the funniest, most random thing, but she really loves it. So I think that should be your next instrument.
Definitely. I've had my sister searching for one at auctions for years now. So it's just a matter of getting one in my hands. So
yeah,
hopefully at some point.
So you've been in Teach Music Online for over a year now, which is amazing to me that it's just been such a fun journey with a lot of you teachers who saw the potential of online lessons in 2019 before the pandemic really made everybody consider it. But tell me about what made you decide to consider it as an option even back then? Obviously now it's a great thing, but even back then, what was something that kind of sparked an interest for you with teaching online?
So it kind of started with my niece's daughter and son. They live up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and they weren't happy with their teacher. And I said, well, I can teach them. So I started teaching them online. And so they were my first two. And I had always, like for years back, I'd always had online as a backup, just with FaceTime lessons. I've had, kids that car trouble or if they're sick. So that's always been, my unofficial backup. So I was kind of had it there. And then I'm like, I should just make this a thing. So that's when I joined, kind of pre-pandemic, and yeah, the rest is history, how it really blew up. So
when you first went joined Teach Music Online, were you thinking, this could be an opportunity to market myself beyond my area? Or were you thinking you wanted it for the flexibility from, what were kind of your ideas as why it would be a benefit for you?
A bit of both. Definitely market myself beyond my area and just be able to, um, to teach, to get my niche, because I feel like I have, I don't know, because I'm only really familiar with my teaching and my teacher's teaching, but I think I have some unique approaches and that really draw students to me because
Mhm.
I keep getting contacts and with 90 plus students, I don't have a lot of spots.
Yeah.
So it's great to have different, the ability, different time zones or the flexibility where they wouldn't normally come to me at, 9 p.m. or 7 a.m. They'll log on, no problem.
Yes. So let's rewind back to March and April when you are now faced with you have to go online because of
Mm-hmm.
virtual learning. How was that transition for you when, you kind of made it a mandatory thing in your studio?
So, luckily, timing was of the essence. I remember it like it was just last year. Um, yeah. So we were going into spring break here, and I kind of heard rumblings that they're not coming back after spring break. So I went on Amazon. I said, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this just to make it easier. So yeah, I spent a small fortune on things which I didn't need to, but I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm like, if I'm gonna want this thing, I need to get it now, or I won't be able to. So that's what I did. I kind of you know I kind of knew what I wanted it to look like. I I like to be able to show my hands. So I've got the overhead camera. Um, I um, yeah, fun fact. I was in tech support for years, so the technology came very naturally, and I had old headphones from my phone days, so I knew what it was going to feel like to be online talking to a client, two kids all day, every day. So I kind of had that advantage, I guess. Um, yeah. So the tech setup, though, just watching and learning from other people. Like I knew I wanted the overhead. I knew I wanted headphones. I didn't quite know like the speaking, being able to hear myself, how loud. I was used to hearing my own voice in the microphone. So that's been a challenge, um, the different headphones with mic setups and even switching back and forth to my blue Yeti.
Yeah, so
Um,
tell us right now that it's been almost a year, what is your preferred setup now? Like tell us the headset if you use headphones, if you use a microphone, what have you switched over to that you really like?
yeah, so when I'm teaching, I usually use headset with the microphone. It's Bluetooth, so I can move. I can, you know, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the other side of the room. I teach on my digital piano. I found I like the overhead more than I did use the Classroom Maestro a little bit, but the MIDI it was weird through.
Mm,
So I don't know. I feel it's more helpful for them to see my
see your
fingers
hands.
and yeah. So I have overhead as well. And another teacher taught me the ManyCam,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't been. Let's see, I wasn't with a student yet, so I have a little bit different setup when I am with a student in studio versus here's my
Great. It
you
looks
know
awesome.
Yeah. That, as well as
For
I
those listening
have.
on the podcast, I'll just explain. So she's using Minicam to have her keyboard displayed below her face. And, I want to ask about that because Minicam previously, when I've tried it, there was quite a lag between what you're saying and what they're seeing. Have you found it to be better than it has been before,
I I
or good?
haven't had any issues.
Any
When I
issues?
first decided to upgrade, I was using a, a MacBook Air, and I switched to MacBook Pro. I was Windows girl. I supported Windows
I
95, Windows
remember.
98, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. But again, I like learning new technologies,
Yeah.
so I took the plunge. I also really wanted to keep it integrated with my iPhone, which I've done a long time, my iPhone and my iPad, so
Yeah.
I can screen share when I do theory classes, or even if I'm just with a student and we want some more note practice, the Flash Note Derby or Note Rush, or just
Yeah.
to draw on the, on use my Apple Pencil and
You're
compose.
using
We'll
all the
do it.
good things. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's great. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. I'll link below to all of we'll get the details later on which brands you like, and Minicam. A lot of teachers want to know more about that and how to use it with Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be sure to link anything that they might find helpful. So tell us about your group class situation. I want to learn about, are you offering both one-on-one and group classes? Are you shifting to all group classes? And then after that, let's talk about what your group class instruction looks like.
Sure. So when the pandemic happened, I realized that I was going to have an exclusive access to my students' time spots. so for once in forever, I could say, I'm going to have a class at this time, show up at this time, and they bought it. So it was kind of awesome. So and again, kind of happenstance, I got into, I'd always done group classes, just because I really enjoy them, but I'd always done them in person. Just kind of a fun thing to jump into, some hands-on, rhythm activities, listening, physical, doing stuff together in a group. There's a lot to be said for doing things in a group and developing rapport and camaraderie with your other piano buddies, especially because you don't normally see, each other. So, what actually, how it actually went down, I'd been kind of looking for a theory course, and Gloria St. Germain contact. I think I probably put my email in somewhere, and so I jumped on the ultimate music theory train, and I love it. It's the theory curriculum that I've been looking for, because I do Royal Conservatory with the kids, so it's just very, very natural. It teaches to that test, and it has a lot of great memory devices, some that I was already kind of incorporating, but she does it to the max. So my theory, my group courses mainly consist of music theory. However, I'm always thinking of other things. I want to get back to my fun classes that, I would just pick a theme and we would do all sorts of things. I would make up games, and I don't know. It's just a lot of fun.
Are your group classes, are they in addition to a weekly lesson with you right now? So they have their
Yes.
piano instruction and then they pay extra for this
Mm-hmm.
class where they get their theory instruction.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
How nice for you, because you don't have to cram it all in a 30-minute, 40-minute lesson.
And it doesn't work if you try.
Yeah.
There's just,
You
it's
miss
just too
so
much.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
fun. So you have, I'm assuming you use the Ultimate Music Theory levels, and they have, the levels that they can sign up for, and then they move to the next class when they finish that level.
Right. Right.
How many
Yeah.
students do you have in a class? What's your max?
If I get, well, right now I'm not maxing out those classes. In the summer I was. If I had over 8, it was too much. Sometimes I had like 10 or 12. But right now I have between 5 and 8 in each class, and I run 4 classes a week with those.
Okay, 4 classes a week. That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So teachers, those watching and listening, you have so many opportunities to diversify your income with workshops, classes, like you mentioned, games. And I think sometimes we assume that they won't want to pay more, or we assume a financial cap for families, which I think it's good to be aware, but we also don't need to ever assume that. I think it's more in our benefit and in their benefit to provide our expertise and make it available. So while everyone might not sign up for those classes, making them available with students you already know and have a relationship with is such a great way to put more students into that 1 hour or half hour time spot and increase your income. Have you thought about doing your piano as group classes, or for now are you just doing theory?
Actually, yes. It's on my list. Both online, and I'm in the works of putting together my area.
A
I
curriculum.
want to do piano group classes
So
in
we need to
my
do a
in my
follow-up
dining room.
podcast. We need to do a follow-up episode then in the summer maybe, and see how the plan is
We'll see.
going.
It's on the list. It's on the list because yeah, a lot of the students that I pick up as brand new students could very well go into a group keyboard class and then graduate.
Mhm.
So I kind of have my progression with them.
And I'm curious, moving forward, are you hoping to stay all online? Are you doing a hybrid? What's your game plan?
I'm currently doing a hybrid. I will stay online as long as there are students that want online. In fact, I've picked up students that will never be able to come to me because
Yeah.
they're too far away. So in order to accommodate them, I'll stay online. And plus, it's great because I don't have students missing lessons anymore. As far as like, I've got the sniffles, or she's got a dentist appointment and can't make it right.
Yeah.
At like, we can't get there physically, get there and back. Well, I'm like, just do it online. It's fine.
It's forever a wonderful substitution. That is it's so great to hear, the pandemic forced teachers to learn the skills needed, and it's going to it will never be the same. And students now know how to learn online. Whether they love it or not, might vary from family to family, parent to parent, but it is definitely an option. All right, so in the membership, you posted about your virtual Federation Festival. Can you tell us what that is, when you're having it, a little bit about what you're creating for your studio?
Sure. Well, it's not something that I've created. It's actually the National Federation of Music Clubs. And I guess, we need to rewind a little bit because, we've got to this point because I have my students do Piano Guild virtually with recordings, and then again, writing on the wall that things are going to be virtual, combined with the center where my kids used to go, decided they weren't going to do it anymore. And that was pre-COVID. And they needed somewhere to go. So I had already taken on the chairperson role of that, and knew that we'd have to have an online component in order for kids to participate, because I think one of my biggest things is kids need concrete goals, something to work for, and so we do that a lot in my studio with festivals, with the Guild, with the Royal Conservatory, recitals. We have a lot of recitals, and then with the federations. So my studio's a member. I'm a member of the National Federation of Music Clubs, and I think much of Florida is going to recordings, which we already did for the Guild in May and June. And I just decided, a lot of the kids didn't do it the right way, despite me saying, okay, be ready and then record. You can record each piece. We're okay with that, because we're making up our own rules now as we go. And they just, knocked themselves out, recorded it multiple times to get it perfect. I'm like, that's not the purpose. The purpose is live performance. So decided, as well as we are able, again, because we're in Florida, good and bad, we can offer in person. So we are doing a day in person February 6th and a day virtual on February 7th, via Zoom. So that way we can accommodate, all the students that will not go out, can't go out. They still get the chance to perform live for a judge and participate.
Okay, I have a couple of questions because this is really spotlighting you and your online teaching and your business. I have a few additional questions that I know it's always helpful to hear for a teacher who's running a thriving business, the tools that you're using that are working for you. So what is your favorite, or how have you decided to manage your studio? I think you use My Music Staff. Is that right? Okay, can you tell us about how it's going and how you have it set up?
If I didn't have My Music Staff, I would not know what I was doing. I used to just, well, luckily I have a very good memory. So I would just memorize, like I would write down my student time slots, and then I'd take my paper and it'd be over there somewhere. And I know, all right, well, Isabella's at 3 o'clock on Mondays, and then it's Luke, and then it's Noah, and then it's, and I would just know that. And I still pretty much know that, but they don't always know that is the problem. And even though, Isabella comes every Monday at 3 o'clock, mom forgets and Isabella forgets. So My Music Staff sends them the reminders, and it bills them. So I don't have to, all of the stuff that I don't like about teaching, My Music Staff does. It's like,
what, you set it all up.
Set it and forget it. What is that device? I don't remember what that is, but yeah, basically you just set it all up, and it does all of the stuff, and I love it.
That's very cool. Do you, for those listening who have not tried My Music Staff, we have a lot of teachers that use spreadsheets, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, and there are so many ways to be organized. I think what I want teachers listening to know is you need to be organized, and teachers waste so much time in studio management. I mean, you could spend easily 4 or 5 hours a week moving students around if you allow cancellations or makeup or whatever your policies are. My Music Staff really helps you get organized, I feel like, because you put them in a time, they stick with that time. But what are some of the other features in there for those that have never looked at it that you use for your business?
So if I have specific notes, like something we've just come through setting goals with each of the students, and so I'll pull it up and I'll type notes. I can email those notes right to the parent, and so they know, or if we talked about something in the lesson that the student needs, it's just all in one place communication, especially with the group classes. Earlier, I've got a group class later today, and I wanted to send them a note because they're moving to the next book, and hey, just a reminder, you have to get this next book. And so I could go to the calendar and I could email all of them. I don't have to look up an email. I don't have to look up a cell phone to text them. And it's all there. It's very a lot of transparency for the parent, knowing they can log in and they can see the notes, and they can look back historically. I can also track repertoire. So in a snapshot, I can look down my list for today. I see who all is coming and what they're working on, just in case my memory fails me,
Mm-hmm.
which, every once in a while it does. It's okay.
That's great. Do you have any favorite apps that you use with your students online or in person?
I use the Flash Note Derby a lot, especially online, not as much in person, because if they're in person, I'll use the Note Rush, depending upon what little, they like the race of the Flash Note. Um,
Yes. It's great for
yeah.
young beginners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially because the reindeer are still here. We always have to see if the reindeer are
Oh,
still
yes.
here. Yes, yes, that's very important. I like that. I use Pia Score for all of my my digital, like if we're doing markup on any music, or also for my theory classes, so I can write.
Yes.
I couldn't live without that. I
So,
spent the first.
so teachers, PS Score it's free, and it is something you can import PDFs to and mark them up. And then do you send your markings to the student after a lesson or
It
just during the lesson?
Usually I will put it into Tanara, which is another, I could not live without
How do you do
Tanara.
that? Do you screenshot it and then insert it
I
as a
do a lot of
photo?
I do a lot of screenshotting,
Yep.
because it's just a lot easier than saving it and then
Yes.
finding where I saved it and upload it. So I'll just screenshot it.
Okay, I want to say that again because teachers, I get this question a lot with how do you connect things with Tanara. So Tanara is another app that you use then for student assignments and practice.
Mhm.
And I mean, it sounds like you use all of my favorite tools as well. So what Bonnie does, teachers, is she uses Pia Score to write on the music, and you have an Apple Pen that you can do that with.
Mhm.
Then you can screenshot your screen. A screenshot just means take a picture, and then with Tanara, you can attach a link to YouTube. You can also attach pictures. So you can just click the little plus sign, add any pictures, which includes screenshots from your iPad. That's a great solution, quick solution for the end of a lesson when you want to attach that.
I also use Tanara a lot because, especially getting ready for festival, you can tell them once in a lesson, but if you can record it, which now technology has opened this up. When I was sitting over in the chair, they were sitting at the piano. We just had to rely on their ability to remember it and
Mm-hmm.
to practice it, and to come back the next week and have it learned. Well, now, regardless of if they're sitting there or if they're on the other end of the screen, a lot of times I'll say, now this is really, really important. Give me a moment. I'm going to switch to my overhead, and let me just say this while I'm recording it, and then I will attach it into Tanara, so they hear it. They can be practicing it while I'm attaching it. So we do it all real time, and that's worked like a
You're
charm.
recording it within Zoom.
Actually, no. No.
Another
more
tool.
steps more steps. So I use my QuickTime player,
Yep.
and I just do a new movie recording. Sometimes I'll use my mini cam, that so that they can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Me talking to them, and other times I'll just use the pure, the keyboard,
Yep.
so they
So
can
you'll
just
do a
see.
QuickTime screen recording of your screen, or it's connected to Manycam.
No, actually connected to Manycam.
Okay,
Yes,
gotcha. And then you'll
yes,
save that.
whatever.
You'll save that .mov or .mp4. I can't remember what QuickTime does. And then you can attach that directly on Tanara.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great tip. So you have to be quick.
Yes, you have to be
This is a lot
really,
of
really quick.
practice.
You have to be able to multitask a lot.
We
Yeah.
should have in the membership, we should have a practice session and to get everyone on their MacBooks. Everyone can record at the same time. We can walk everyone through the tech, because I think that's the roadblock for teachers. They're going to hear this interview with you and go, that all sounds amazing. But to actually, get the right setup and then to feel comfortable enough to do it during a lesson is another, couple
Mhm.
of days of practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't always work. So, you have to just be able to go with the flow.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't always work to the,
Mhm.
to exactly what we want it to be.
Mhm.
Well, Bonnie, this is so fun. I have more thoughts and questions. I feel like we could chat more. Do you have a place where teachers listening could learn more about your studio? Do you have a website or a Facebook page they could get to know you a little bit better?
I do. I have a Facebook page. You can just find me, Bonnie Synhorst Music Studio on Facebook. Right now, I'm kind of keeping it kind of low key because people still find me, and I
You're
know it's a
full.
bad. Yeah, it's not a bad spot to be, but I hate telling them, and some of them actually are kind of a bit aggressive. It's like, no, we can come at 9 p.m. I'm like, no, I don't want you to come at 9 p.m. So yeah.
For your new student
So I'm
inquiries.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not you're
I just
not
think
you're not doing a lot of marketing or content creation right now as far as looking for students.
no, not. Oh boy.
Our last question is, why do you love teaching? Why do you do it, or why do you love it? What motivates you?
Well, so that could springboard to a lot of different things. I think part of my teaching style is just um, one, I'm genuinely interested in every kid. I know it's something they say, if you really want to invest in the students and keep the students, they have to feel valuable to you. And
Mm.
I remember, um, I again, my memory being really, really good. I remember what I wanted from my teachers. I wanted to go in there and I wanted them to ask about me and to know about me. And so I just naturally do that with the kids. I'm very curious. I think um, staying curious um, helps with the motivation. It's like, how was your day? What did it can even go from, what did you work on? And I don't know where that's going to go. That could be going into the piece. Or last week somebody said, I asked my friends on the playground, I would pay them $10 if anyone could pronounce Haydn's name correctly. I'm like, oh wow, you must have been the most popular kid on the playground. Not necessarily because she would pay him $10. Nobody could pronounce it correctly. But just because it's like, you think, and I think that being a musician, being a piano player is super cool. And guess what? You're telling all your friends that's super cool. So my kids, my students are they're my kids, even though they're not my kids. So they motivate me. And I genuinely like them. I look forward to seeing them week after week. And I think they know that. So that's
So
it.
that's one of the pieces of the pie for why you teach. I
Yes.
can tell you have so many passions and reasons for doing what you do. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your tech knowledge, all of the things that you have going on. I know it's going to inspire teachers to maybe make slight shifts in their studio that they've been wanting to do, but they just needed to hear that it's working for someone else. So thanks so much,
Thank you.
Bonnie.
It was great.